games. Joining us now is BYU Basketball Associate Head Coach Heath Schoyer. Heath, it's great to have you back in Studio B.
Thanks, guys. Great to be here.
I've been noticing a few posts from your wife, Kim, on social media about your son's basketball career blossoming. Has the recruiting pitch begun for BYU?
Oh no, not really. But we're very, very fortunate. This is the first team that Hayden has been on, and she's helping kind of coach the team. So it's been great. I'm just excited that he gets a uniform and he cheers really hard for his teammates, and when he gets in, he works hard, and that's all I can ask. It's been awesome for him.
All right, so for those that don't know, your wife is a former basketball coach as well. So so is there basketball philosophy being thrown around in the Schoyer household all the time?
All the time. No, she coached at UNLV. She was a junior college coach before that out at Seward, and without question, she is the best player in our household. But we argue a little bit about defensive philosophies at times, and, when we should call time. When I was at Martin, I came home one night and she's like, at the 13-minute mark, you should have called a timeout. Okay, here we go. But no, but that's been really fun. She's a really good coach and really good teacher, the fundamentals, and the kids love her, and I'm very, very fortunate.
Okay, so if we're discussing defensive concepts at the dinner table, what does that look like in the Schoyer home?
Well, there's usually a pad of paper sitting on the table.
Okay.
And like I watch practice film every night, so a lot of times she'll sit and she won't watch all of it. It bores her, but she's like, "Well, they're not in a stance, and you should help at that angle and things like that." And I'm like, "Stop." So sometimes we just agree to disagree, but it's been very fun.
Great stuff.
It was probably about a week or so ago. Coach Rose was asked a question about his relationship with you and how it's evolved over time. I'll ask you the same question. How has your relationship with Coach Rose evolved?
Well, we've always been really close ever since, we worked together here under Coach Cleveland. I just think we've both gotten probably a little bit, we've both gotten older. And I think that there's just as the years have passed and we're back together again, I think there's even more of a trust factor with each other. I think that, we read each other really well during the games, and I think we work really well together. I mean, he's a dear friend of mine and someone I have the ultimate respect for.
He's put a lot of trust in you, and right now BYU has the most efficient defense in the West Coast Conference. That has never happened under Dave Rose. So when you hear something like that, what do you think about this team and their improvement defensively?
We've gotten better. I think we've gotten better on both sides of the ball, but defensively, we're valuing the possession, and this league is it's a lot. It's good. There's some good. There's some really good teams. Obviously, 2 top 15 teams in the country, whatever it is, and there's good coaches. There's 2 ex-NBA coaches in this league, so you got to be ready every night. I think our guys have really improved. I think there's a lot of growth still left to come, especially on that end of the floor. We talked last night that if we're going to do what we want to do in March, we have to continue to have a chip on our shoulder defensively. You're not going to trick people. When you get into February, March, you're going to have to grind people out, and you're going to have to rebound and fight through screens and contest every shot and just be tough and be physical. And I think our guys, for the most part this year, have bought into that. This is a big month for every team in the country, let alone us.
We've talked a lot about the extremely high level of play of Elijah Bryant and Yoli Childs. And you've obviously been around a lot of really good players. One that you coached last year is now in the NBA, and Dennis Smith Jr.
Sure.
I'm always curious, what is the common characteristic or attribute that you see from these players that excel at such a high level?
Well, I think both of those guys have improved. And I also will tell you this, a guy like TJ Halls, he's a better basketball player today than he was a year ago.
Look at him defensively.
It's not even close. I mean, his assist-to-turnover ratio, his plus-minus ratio, it's off the charts. Zach Sellius is a better basketball player today than he was a year ago. But I think that all those guys, and you brought up Yoli and Eli, guys, when they start to get better, the game slows down for them. And I think that Eli right now in particular, the game is in slow motion for him. He sees the game He's not sped up. He sees a play ahead, a pass ahead. He sees defensive coverages and how they're rotating. And it's really neat to watch. It's fun to watch. And Yoli, I thought, especially certain times during certain games, I think the game slows down for him. When he gets in trouble, or when teams get in trouble, it's almost like they're sped up and they're not seeing the game and they're not seeing the coverages. And I think that as a group, we've gotten a lot better at that.
It is interesting because I asked this question to Coach Rose yesterday during the media availability, and the first thing out of his mouth was pace. He's like, that guys that are playing at that kind of level, they don't get sped up.
Exactly.
The opposition, doesn't matter what they do,
Right.
They're so comfortable in their own game that they play at their own pace, and that's why they're successful.
Absolutely. You watch the best players in the world play, and I'm a huge basketball junkie, so I watch it 12 months a year. But you watch the best players play, and you go watch some of the best coaches and how they teach the game. It's not about how fast, it's about how efficient. And from all the way breaking down to your footwork, to taking your time on the pick and roll, reading the coverages, reading the rotations, all those things. And you can't do that playing at breakneck speed. You have to play at a good pace. And I think our guys have really gotten better throughout the year, and I think it's because we're playing at a better pace.
We've been talking about the March manifestation. BYU basketball has gotten better. Where do you realistically see BYU basketball's improvement manifesting itself when those games start to get ramped up in early March in Vegas, and then who knows what happens after?
Well, I think that, when you look back, you always look back at the body of work. And yesterday in our staff meeting, we talked about, or Monday, how do we continue to improve and what can we kind of tweak going into this last, stretch run going into March. But I think that if you're going to be good in March and you're going to be good in late in the year, it comes down to, can you execute in the half court?
Yeah.
And can you defend in the half court at a high level? Games slow down. Possessions, matter even more. There's less possessions, the later the year gets. And I just believe it comes down to the efficiency that you have on both sides of the ball. And I think if we're continue to be efficient and we continue to get better at those things, and, we got to do a better job rebounding the ball. I think our post defense has to improve. Our defensive rebounding has to improve. Getting to the free throw line and limiting people getting to the free throw line, I think is a really big stat going into late in the year. And I think if we do all those things, then I think that, we have a chance to play deep in March. I think we have a chance to go to the NCAA Tournament and play multiple games in March. I really believe that. You look where we were from day one to where we are now. We've come a long way. Now, we have ways to go. But I think our team is committed to doing that, and it's a long year. You're going to stump your toe here and there, but it all comes down to continuing to get better and playing your best basketball coming down the stretch run of your league and going into the tournament.
And it really is interesting. Certainly wins is what most people will look at to determine the success of a team, but it goes far beyond that, and that's what we were talking about in our last segment. As a coach, how do you determine success? What goes into determining that success?
Well, when you look back, in my opinion, you look back at the body of work throughout the year, and you look at each individual player. Has each individual player gotten better? I think as a coach, that's something you have to measure. And I think our players have gotten better. I think that you have to look at both sides of the ball and say, have we gotten better at both sides? Are we more efficient on both sides of the ball? Are we playing a basketball the way we need to play to play late in March? And I think that the answer to those questions this year is absolutely. I think we're a better basketball program. And you think about where we were day one, and we don't have a senior. We're right now at the end of January. I think we're one of 25 teams with 18 or more wins,
and no seniors.
And we've played realistically with 8 or 9 scholarship guys most of the year. So we've had a lot of adversity as a team to go through. But the one thing about this group that I've really respected, and Coach Rose and our staff. I'm so lucky to be on a great staff. I know I'm breaking off on a tangent, but going to work every day with Tim and Quincy and Lee and Garrett and Andrew, like those guys are really good basketball coaches. They're great basketball minds, and I'm excited. You know, I've always, I wake up every day loving what I do. And I really enjoy working with the guys that I work with. And I think we've gotten better. And I think we can continue to grow.
There's so much media noise, us included here in Studio B, bracketologists, projections, RPI, KPI, Ken Pomeroy. I mean, it goes on and on. It's crazy how inundated we are with all this information and metrics and stats. How do you view all of that? Because it's almost impossible to ignore all of it with social media.
Sure. Well, yeah, it's hard to, you can't ignore all that. I mean, but you just try to attack each day. And I know that's coach speak, but you try to get a little bit better every day. And, you can't get too high on a win. You can't get too low on a loss. And, I think we're sitting in a good position. I think, when you look at where we are, we're probably not there yet, but, we got a lot of games left to play. And, I think that this is a multi-bid league. I think they're going to take two for sure, if not three teams out of our league, depending on how it all shakes out. We got a tough stretch coming up, 5 of our next 7 on the road. It's always hard to win road games, let alone road games in February. But, I look at it where, are we getting better every day? Are we becoming more, I keep saying this, but are we becoming more efficient on both sides of the ball? Is our locker room getting stronger? I think, coaches does a great job of always talking about, the team concept and working on our locker room chemistry. And when those things are moving in the right direction and our guys are fresh mentally and physically, you got a chance to win a lot of games.
Because of what you were talking about in terms of the team dynamic, does that help to limit any concern of overlooking a team like LMU with a huge game against Gonzaga on Saturday?
Well, for sure. I mean, coach has talked about it since Monday. I mean, the last 2 times we've been down there, we've been down 18. So they beat us in the second half here. This is a good. I mean, this is a team that it causes us problems. They got really quick athletic guards. They're post guys. Scott is a guy who can go inside and out. What they do, their pressure. They switch defenses and change defenses to kind of get you off rhythm. So this is a hard matchup for us. I mean, as a team and as a staff, we haven't mentioned a game on Saturday yet. We're all LMU has all of our attention, and they need to have it because this is a tough matchup for us. We have the ultimate respect for Coach Dunlap and what he does, and we just take him one at a time.
Hashtag beat LMU, right?
Absolutely.
Coach, really enjoyed this. Thank you for the time. We know how busy you are and how crazy things are at this time of year, so appreciate you coming in.
Hey, anytime, guys. Appreciate it.